Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Male,
Yeah,
female, first name, last name. Yeah.
that's right. All right. Do you
Yeah.
believe there are only two genders? No.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. Do you believe in gay marriage? No.
Yeah. They should have that. We're live right now, so let's see who's joining us. All right, let's see. Let me get let me get the live stream open here. Comments and reactions. All right, there are people on here. All right, cool. All right, everybody, we're back. Can you guys hear us? We're now on Skype. I feel like we're constantly on the run, Peter.
Yeah.
They're
I
like,
was just thinking,
aiming at us.
that song by Paul McCartney, "Band on the Run."
Pretty soon we're gonna have to be doing this via like dial-up telephone or something. I don't know. There's a YouTuber named Owen Benjamin, and he was on Crowder's show, and he's gotten banned so much now, Peter, that he actually does. They don't let him do super chats, PayPal. He's been banned from everything, right? So now he actually has what's called like old school like mail super chats, where people actually mail him via post the super chats, and he reads them.
I know. I think we had to do it with the truckers with the CB radio. It still exists,
Oh my God. Hello, Paul. How are you? This is Paul. Paul has a great company, by the way, that did that transcribed our ebook. So take a look at Paul. Paul, put your link in the chat as well. Paul did a great job, and we'll be working with Paul again real soon. All right, guys, we are really sorry about what happened with Zoom, but Peter's here, and he has a guest with him as well. And Skippy, Peter, where did we leave off? What were you? As things were breaking up,
what was I ranting about?
You were making a lot of points, but do you remember which one?
Yeah, I mean, we can do just a quick review. I mean, what I did was I spent some time. I actually, to be honest with you, not a whole lot of time because I just came back from St. Petersburg. But I looked over what the YouTube's guidelines, I guess we can call it that, and just one quick read of it. I mean, I took notes as I was going along because I knew we were going to speak today. And terms like extreme content, I don't know what that is. They keep talking about hate speech, but they don't really define it. And you know what? The Supreme Court refused to as well. Okay, they could learn from precedent here. You can citing events; they have to be well documented. I don't know what that means. Okay, MH17. That's well documented, but it's not in the public realm. Okay, how about the alleged gas attacks in Syria and Duma? We know that has been was a hoax. It was a conspiracy that the media carried. Okay, it's been debunked. Okay, though the mainstream won't pick up on that. Denying the Earth is flat. Well, I don't believe the Earth is flat, and I think people that do believe it are kind of nutty. Should they be able to say it? Of course. Of course, why not? Okay, challenge your mind, folks. All right. Then, not only are all these no's, which are completely amorphous, and I can't even figure out what they mean, comes up to the line. That's a very interesting phrase. Meaning, even if you are close to what we think is a conspiracy or hate speech or something that's not well documented, you still can get in trouble for that. Up to the line. It is fascinating. So again, they're interpreting what all of this means. Okay, myself, I'd have no idea what they're talking about. So it's up for them to determine what it is, and then they will penalize me. What is a trusted creator? I don't know. What trusted creator? Oh, like CNN? Oh, how many times have they gotten the news wrong? Okay, how often do they have to say they got something wrong? But they're considered a trusted creator, really. WikiLeaks, I would say, is a trusted creator. They haven't been proven wrong once. But also, this is kind of spooky, a bit Orwellian. Going back to the creators who promote their content with consulting with lawmakers and civil society. Oh, so we have to go to the authorities. We have to genuflect in front of the authorities now. I thought that free speech was designed to challenge authority. That's why we have it. So this is the weaponization and criminalization of speech. That's it. And they want to get people like us off. Pure and simple. So if you like dog and puppy videos, cooking, vacation, knitting, tea. I can go on and on.
YouTube's for you.
You're fine. That's
YouTube's for you.
fine.
Yeah.
Okay. But, if you want to speak to power, challenge authority, challenge nonsense, which that's what the mainstream media is, then you're not welcome here. Okay. So have a low IQ. Okay. And you can come. Okay. I'm angry. Yeah. I'm angry about it. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I think you make a good point, Peter. While a lot of people are talking about the demonetization, the removal of videos from independent content creators, a lot of people haven't brought up the fact that YouTube said in that same statement, like you pointed out, that they are going to reward, they're going to push up, sources that they feel are trusted, and of course we know that's the mainstream media. That'll be NBC, CBS, ABC, right. CNN, MSNBC, BBC. We know who it is.
Okay, so for example, for our folks who are watching this right now, let's say we do an update on the Skripal affair. What YouTube is going to probably do is right next to the suggestions, they're going to have contrary views to what we just said, which is all nice and fine, okay? But when, let's say, MSNBC or BBC do a story on the Skripals, they're not going to put us next to it as a counterbalance. It only works one way. Yeah. All right, so this is not about that. This is antithetical to free speech. I thought all of the wizards of Silicon Valley, when all this started going in the early 90s, that this is supposed to be a level playing field where all voices could participate, where it would be the ultimate expression of democracy. No, this is controlling the franchise of free speech, and fine. They should just tell us up front. Wouldn't that be just better? You're not wanted here. Why don't they just do that?
Put it on the homepage when you sign up.
Do they have any courage? Do you have any courage? Yeah. Any courage at all? At all? Yeah. Any shame at all?
It should go on the homepage. They should just have it, name, first name, last name, email, political affiliation, which side of the spectrum do you lie on? What do you believe in? I don't know. Phrase it however the hell you want. Put check boxes. Put an input box, text box, I don't care. Put it on the sign up, and there you go. And they'll decide if you can get a channel or not. And at least you know what you're signing up for. At least you know.
And don't say you're for free speech. Stop saying it, okay? Yeah. Stop saying it. Okay, stop insulting our intelligence. Stop it.
Peter, is this YouTube's way of, the way I'm seeing it, is this YouTube's way of really saying, you know what, we really don't, we're trying, it's kind of like, you're dating that girl and she's trying to give you the signs that she wants to break up with you, but she's just not outright telling you. She's kind of, getting on your skin. She's saying this. She's making you upset, but she just doesn't want to say, I don't want to see you anymore. This is what YouTube's kind of doing. It's like they're saying, you know what, guys, I don't just want to outright tell you.
I really leave. Eat, but I got to pick up my dry cleaning.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a true story. Yeah. I mean, the thing is that, we're kind of just an annoyance for them because people like ourselves don't affect their bottom line, obviously. Okay, we don't, and so we're just kind of a headache. And so they don't want people over at Vox saying, "Oh, YouTube is allowing this speech on its platform." Okay, no, they don't want to take. They don't have any courage. They don't have any imagination. Okay, why YouTube? I have an idea for you. Why don't you have YouTube Conservative? Okay, and just let us have that platform. Okay, why don't you? We'll leave you alone. We won't mix up with your puppies and your cooking and your travel. Why don't you just let us, have our space? Then you could say you're for freedom of speech. Be imaginative, people. Be imaginative. Don't be cowards.
Jose says, will this channel be affected? Well, look, I don't think. How would you say I don't think we're very controversial. In the way that this first wave, like take a look at this first. This is actually the second wave, to be honest, of the apocalypse. So take a look at this wave of channels that got affected, Peter. We're really not in the same type of genre as them, nor do we go, so.
No, okay. Let's look at Alex Jones.
Right.
Okay. I didn't like a lot of things that he had to say. I didn't really like his delivery either. But the point is that first of all, you can like and dislike. You can watch or not watch. Did he ever call for violence? Did he ever call for a physical assault on a person? I never saw that. Did he say kooky things? Yeah. Is that against the law? Is there something wrong with that? Okay. He's a form of entertainment. All right. You like him or you don't. Apparently, a lot of people did. Not my cup of tea. Okay, at all. But I don't think considering what he had to say, I don't think he should have been banned. Okay? Because we all know once you do that, then everyone can be banned. And that was the whole point. They banned him because they knew so few people would come to his defense. Okay? They seem to have high octane thinking when they want to be conspiratorial against their own users, creators. Okay,
It's the sniper approach, isn't it? I mean,
yeah,
they picked out Alex Jones. They knew who they were going to target,
yeah.
and they picked him off, and then they moved, further down the line. But I mean, they knew exactly what they were doing when they were picking off the first guy.
Well, and the interesting thing is too, this is all being done in light of 2020. It's obvious to me. It's obvious that they want to make sure that there's in their minds, no, in our minds, there's no dissent. They do not want to hear voices that are contrarian to their worldview. Okay, then look, I have to think that they truly believe what they're doing, and they truly believe what they think they're doing right with this, coming up with their list and all of that. But this is not smart. This is not smart at all. Okay, and it's really insulting to those of us that see freedom of speech as the most important thing. I've said before, and I'll repeat it here. If you do not have freedom of speech, then the rest of your rights mean nothing. Nothing. Okay? It all starts from freedom of speech. And confronting authority and confronting the conventional wisdom. That's how we move forward. That's how any civilization moves forward. If you never question, a society and civilization will exist in a cul-de-sac forever until it disappears, because there'll be no advancement. And this is what they believe. They believe that we've reached this nirvana of thought and behavior, which is ridiculous. That's never happened in history. And it never will.
You know what the funny part is that, if this was about competition, say a free marketplace, YouTube had the mainstream media on the run. I mean, they were crushing them. They were soaking up the ad revenue. They were getting a lot more watch time. I mean, NBC, CNN.
Mark Dice was going head to head with CNN.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
A guy in his kitchen, one guy was taking on, what's his name, the court eunuch over there, Brian Stelter.
Brian Stelter, yeah. I mean, if this was about competition, YouTube had it, and now they're ceding it.
Yep.
Which makes you think why.
And then well, it seems to me this is an ideological conspiracy. Okay. That's what it is. They're willing to sacrifice even a part of their bottom line. Though we don't, we're chicken feed, obviously. All conservatives are chicken feed when it comes to YouTube. They're willing to sacrifice us. They're willing to sacrifice a principle. Okay, they want to maintain their ideological status quo. I mean, they're Hillary supporters. They watch CNN. They watch MSNBC. That's where they're ideologically driven. And they're so thin-skinned being criticized. Oh, they're terrified of Vox. Okay, Vox is they're going to write something bad about us, say something bad about us. Well, my attitude is, so what? Okay? But they're easily cowed. They're very easily cowed. And it's because they're ideologically blind. They're ideologically obsessed. They're willing to sacrifice basic principles.
Can you say, Peter, this
to be part of the in crowd?
Can you say this was well orchestrated? It's not really about Carlos Meza and Vox, because YouTube said they've been doing this since January. They've been preparing for this, right? So they've been preparing for this, and they were just looking for the right place, the right time, the right guy to launch it. The minute he started to
yeah.
launch his campaign, it's like the articles on CNN and New York Times and Washington Post were already written in support of Carlos and in support of the deplatforming, the demonetization. I mean, they came out, minutes after Carlos went on his tirade on Twitter. So I mean, it seems to me this was pretty well orchestrated.
Yeah, and also they take this extreme case, okay? It's an extreme case, and it's an extreme case to prove a point, all right? This guy, he feels that he was a victim of a slur. Okay, fine. But you're a public figure, and when you're in the public, you have to be able to accept criticism. We go all the way back to Larry Flint and the Supreme Court. He was the publisher of Hustler magazine, and I think there was a funny cartoon about Jerry Falwell. Yeah, it was about him having sex with his mother coming from an outhouse, and that was the image. And of course, at that point in time, Jerry Falwell went to the Supreme Court over defamation, and the court said, "Hey, you're in the public eye, okay? And when you're in the public eye, this is what happens. You will be criticized, and people have the right to criticize you. There's no penalty. So the entire idea of being a public figure is changed now. All right, I get criticized all of the time, but that comes with the job. It comes with the profession, and now they want to change that. They want to flip it upside down. Does Carlos get, he's what, Hispanic, he is gay, and so they take they list all the victimhoods, and then, they package it all together and say, this is a prototypical example of what hate speech, and all these other people, I've never said anything like that in my life, and I never would, because it has nothing to do with what I think, in my world view on politics. It's more about values, okay? I don't look at, we're colorblind here. We're colorblind. We're only interested in ideas, okay? I'm not here to vilify people. If someone says something stupid, I'll say they said something stupid, okay? Just call it balls and strikes, balls and strikes. But we don't go down the path of vilifying someone because of their attributes, okay? Because I think there's no reason to.
Listen to this comment, Peter, from Ethic Boxing. Let me tell you this. Every CEO, every major shareholder in any big corporation, YouTube, is at a minimum a conservative, not a fascist. So cool down your snowflakery, guys.
Very good point. Very good. Yeah, I mean,
your snowflake. So that's ridiculous. First of all, YouTube is not a separate corporation. It's part of Google and it's part of Alphabet.
Yes.
So you're wrong there. To begin with. And the fact that you say that every CEO is a conservative, no, they're not a conservative. I wouldn't even say they're a liberal.
What about woke capitalism? Have you heard that phrase lately? Woke capitalism?
Yeah.
I mean, Gillette, Nike, all of the rest of them? What do you mean?
Yeah, look, CEOs are not conservative and they're not liberal. I would say they're globalists. They could be elitists. They could be neoliberal. They could be neocon. They don't fall into these camps that everyone here is divvying up into this type of stuff.
Irrespective of the political views of the CEO, you have to keep in mind that they have public relations divisions that want to give the impression that they're part of this woke capitalism movement. It doesn't matter what the CEO per se has to say. What they do is they want to project an image of being inclusive. Okay, that's the whole message. Inclusive. I mean, it could be very hypocritical on their part, but they certainly it's part of their public relations apparatus. Okay, so no, I mean that's not how I look at it for sure.
YouTube is owned by it, but yeah, YouTube is CIA invested in Google. They were one of the first people that invested in Google. That's absolutely right. People forget that Facebook and Google, big investments also via the CIA.
And one more thing, this is something that I get really upset about. What is extreme about being a conservative? What is extreme about that? See, when I say I'm a conservative, people, these snowflakes, they put me in the category of the extreme right. We have done so many. When we look at like elections in Europe. Every time we see a party, in our opinion, goes over the line, we call them out. We call them out. No, no, no. We're not going down ethnic nationalism. Not here. And I'm a historian. I know what it means. And I know where it can go. And it's always bad. So we call it out that way. So don't confuse terms and don't confuse political opinions.
Yeah, good point. Good point, Peter. Let's see. Let's look at the chat, see what people are saying. How long do you want to go for, Peter?
A little bit longer.
Longer?
We got stalled on Zoom.
Yeah, we got stalled on Zoom.
I was on a run there. We lost that one to posterity.
Andrew says probably the best channel on YouTube. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Andrew. We really appreciate that. Let's see here. Diversity is another lie from Paul. Yeah, inclusivity is another lie. It's all meant to divide.
No, but
it's all meant to divide.
Here's the juxtaposition. You know, we're always we're forced to talk about and accept and express, you know, diversity. I don't accept it at all. Zero. I don't. I believe in unity. Unity. All right. Why can't we have unity? Why don't we talk it out? Okay. Instead of putting preconditions on speech before you can even speak. This is what YouTube is doing. Putting preconditions. You can speak freely, but okay. That's what they're saying.
They need to be categorized as a publisher. It's real simple. Publishers.
Absolutely.
Publishers.
Absolutely. The entire Google world,
right.
Okay? And Facebook.
Right. If you want to be a platform, you have to play by these rules. If you want to be a publisher, play by... It's real simple. That's it.
Look, AT&T before...
We love you too, Edic Boxen. That's the guy that sent the question. Okay. Gotta love you guys after all.
Let's look at the example of AT&T before and after its breakup, the antitrust, okay? It was made law that, okay, if you and I have a conversation using an AT&T line, and we are conspiring to commit a crime, okay, and we use their line, they're not held liable for what we say on their line. We have to pay for using the line, but they are not responsible for what is said, okay? Now, this is, you know, now, but Google and Facebook, they're saying that they are going to mediate, okay? That is not just a platform. That's a publisher. That has editorial rules.
That is a publisher. Without question, that is a publisher. I think that's as clear as day.
And they should lose that privilege, that protection. They should lose it.
So what do you think is going to happen now, Peter, if you had to look in a crystal ball here? We've got 2020s coming up.
I think it's going to get a lot worse. I think it's going to get a lot worse.
Do you think action's going to get taken? We have the FTC, we have the DOJ looking into some things.
Yeah. The problem with, you know, when, going back to a program I made before I went to St. Petersburg is antitrust is a very long process. And that's not going to happen before 2002. That's for sure. For sure. Okay. So I really don't know. I mean,
you think we're that far off? 2002? 2022?
Excuse me.
2022?
Oh, I think no. I think certainly nothing will probably happen before 2020. I mean, if I remember correctly, I think the Standard Oil and AT&T was a good part of a decade to break them up. You know, and plus, see, you know, there was the case, and I mean, if I get my years right, 2011, 2012 against Microsoft, and they won a good part of the case. Okay, so you know, once the DOJ starts looking into it, I mean, it doesn't mean, I mean, obviously Alphabet and Facebook have very good lawyers, very expensive lawyers, a whole army of lawyers. So it's going to be a long process if it happens. Okay, I think it will. In one form or another, I think it will. Yeah.
And Facebook's hiring, from what I understand, Facebook's hiring the best antitrust lawyers around. They're on a hiring spree right now, as we speak, hiring these people. So.
Yep.
They're gearing up for the battle.
But I mean, the thing we can obviously we'll keep an eye on that. But the bigger picture for us is that the public square is getting smaller and smaller, and more observed. Yeah. And it's really what it is it is just to it's a form of intimidation. Is that you know, they're striking out. So you know, they're basically saying, you know, don't even bother. Okay, don't even waste your time and effort. Okay, and that's really sad.
That's what they're
Because
saying.
it was supposed to be the other way around. It was supposed to be this great technology that'd be the ultimate form of free expression and totally enfranchising people. And now it's turning into, if you don't check the right boxes, you're not wanted. You're disinvited.
Yeah, live by the mantra, Peter. Actions, not words.
Yeah.
So what they're saying is fine, the free speech, all that stuff, but look at the actions. And the actions are saying,
Well,
just like you said,
yeah,
we
but
don't want you.
it's
We don't want
Orwellian.
you
It's
guys.
free speech, but
Yeah.
free speech, but
Yeah, those are the actions. It's clear as day where this thing's going. Clear as day. All right. All right, guys, let's wrap it up. What do you say,
all
Peter?
right.
Wrap it up. This is a
Yeah.
quick live, Friday live. We tried Zoom. It didn't work out so well, but this one worked out pretty good over Skype. So let us know if you
Okay,
guys like this.
and
stream.
everyone watching this here, we're gonna just because of circumstances, Alexander McCurris has been really busy. I had to do my move. I had to go to St. Petersburg, and I think as of today, we're going to get back to a regular schedule and
Yeah.
do lives on a very regular basis, and I mean very regular basis like this. Okay, we get back in our groove.
There's a final question. What do you think about RT and Rupp? Do you think this is going to move? I wanted to ask you this actually. I forgot. So we're starting on an identity politics on a social level right now, and they're kind of deplatforming based on ideology, based on identity politics. Do you think this is going to move towards a political level
Well,
based on if you're
I have to be
from
really
Russia, if
careful
you're from
because
China?
I really can't. Yeah, I can't really speak for RT in this capacity, but it's
Not so much
obviously
RT. Do you
moving
think this
in
is going to move downstream, say, to politics?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Geopolitics, say. Like, okay, you're broadcasting out of China. You can't use YouTube. Or you're
Oh, I
pro-Chinese.
see.
You're
Oh, I
pro-Chinese.
see. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, you're right. I mean, now we go to the quote-unquote social values, ethics, and all
Right.
that. It'll move into geopolitics. Wouldn't be surprised. I mean, when you have people like Facebook that have the Atlantic Council as their censor, I wouldn't be surprised if YouTube hires them as well, or someone like them. Okay. What is it? The National Endowment for Democracy, which is, for democracy. What a Orwellian term. I mean, they're the forced regime change outfit. Okay.
Yeah.
So that has nothing to do with democracy. They might be hired and to police YouTube. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Yeah. You said something bad about the white helmets. You guys are gone.
Or if you're even critical of the quote unquote deal of the century when it comes to the Israel and the Palestinians, if you don't say the right thing, you're nixed.
Yeah. All right, Sean, a $2 super chat. Thoughts on Trump in the UK and his speech at D-Day? Yeah, that's a good question. What were your thoughts on Trump and his speech at D-Day?
I didn't see the speech because I was traveling, but I did see the peripheral commentary.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'll tell you something that I'll betray my age, but I can firmly remember very clearly that when the President of the United States traveled abroad, domestic media always showed a deference. I mean, Richard Nixon, when Watergate was consuming his presidency in the spring of 1973, Nixon went on a world tour because he wanted to get away from Washington because of Watergate. But even when he was traveling abroad, he was given deference and respect. I mean, and Nixon was hated by the media, hated. But when he traveled abroad, he was the president of the United States of all Americans, and he was not criticized. Donald Trump can't even get on the airplane and not be criticized, okay? Donald Trump deserves his fair share of criticism, obviously. He invites it, okay? But, when you say he's not acting presidential, well, the media isn't acting responsible, okay? So there is fault on both sides, but, I'm just an old-fashioned guy, an old Boy Scout, When the president's traveling, you give him a little bit of slack, okay?
Absolutely.
But that's no longer the case anymore.
Slack and respect. Alex, is the Monday chat on for next week? Yes. As Peter explained, it looks like we've cleared up a lot of our to-dos, and we should be ready to gear up on Monday, back on a more regular schedule. So, Peter Lavelle, host of RT's Crosstalk in Moscow, thank you for this live stream. Guys, they are unsubscribing you. They're unsubscribing a lot of people from the channel. So make sure you're subscribed. Give another check and make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you've clicked that notifications bell, because they are screwing around with us. And the only thing that we could do is just, take a couple seconds and double check to make you subscribe to the channel. Just make sure.
A good example was that it was a few weeks ago that Alexander McCurris was unsubscribed, and he didn't do it himself.
Yeah. And Alexander McCurris was unsubscribed to this channel. So just keep that in mind. And we really appreciate it when if you guys would do that. So thank you very much. We are on BitChute. Yes, we are on Minds. We are on Gab. We're on all the other alternative platforms. So sign up and take a look at those as well. Take a look at our broadcasts there as well. Peter, any last words? Any last words? Any last statements?
Well, maybe it will be my last statement. I don't know. Keep up the good fight, everybody. You lose when you give up. Okay?
Yeah, don't worry. It's not a big deal. Honestly, so what? This is just, it's all part of life, part of the game, and it's part of life.
It's all part of the great odyssey, okay?
Exactly.
So what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Well, we'll all be okay. Everyone's going to be fine. Everyone. All right, Peter Lavelle, thank you very much. Guys, take care. Have a great weekend, everybody.